So it's another beautiful day. Just living the dream, loving life. Just another blessing, and that's how I take it. In this video, I'm gonna talk about colloidal gold. It's gonna be a tutorial. I'm gonna show you how to make it. It's only like a 15-minute long process, and that's about how long it's gonna take in this video. So if that's the portion that you want to see, go to the comment section. It should be time stamped. You can go directly to it from here. But also in this video, I'm going to show you some of the research on the internet, and it's not going to be anything special. I'm just going to go through some of the popular research and some of a little bit of the peer-reviewed research, and kind of give my thoughts and kind of show you some information about colloidal gold, kind of learn about it together. And then thereafter, I'm going to share with you give my own review of colloidal gold. And I've been using it for like the past 4 months. The first 3 months, I was buying it commercially, and the past month, I've been making my own. So I'm going to talk about the difference between buying a commercial version and buying my own, and also talk about some of the pitfalls, and I guess give you the good, bad, and ugly about colloidal gold. Even though my experience has been very positive, but everything has to be done right. And the information in this video is for entertainment purposes only. You should do your own research. You shouldn't take anything I say as any truth or anything like that. This is just a reference. I think it's going to be still a good reference, but keep that in mind. Entertainment purposes only. I'm just a dude on the internet. So before I get into the tutorial, I guess I'll share my backstory with you about how I came to know and understand colloidal gold. And it's not going to be anything amazing or spectacular or anything like that. It's going to be probably kind of kind of dumb in a way, but still very interesting. We come across things in different ways. We come across knowledge in life in different ways, and sometimes it's not always smooth and pretty. So we'll get started. So for me, when I came across, even thinking about this, when this came on my radar, I was, a kid, and I always kind of wondered, why is gold so important? Why does people make gold out to be so important? What can it do? What's so special about it? I don't really see the worth in it, other than it being like a status symbol. And I'm wondering, why is this a status symbol? And I'm a kid. I'm pretty ignorant. And as time goes on, get older, become an adult, I'm learning that the whole monetary system, the world monetary system, is backed by gold. And so the whole world, everything, the way energy moves, is all backed by gold. And I continue to wonder, why is gold so important? This doesn't make any sense to me. And then I thought about it further. You can't eat it. You can't use it as fuel. Why is this the top thing? Why is this the number one most important thing in the world? Based on the position that they have it in, by having it back in money. And then I continue to learn more about it, and I found information about other things that it could do. It had like some amazing properties, like that other minerals, no other mineral has. Particularly in electronics. It allows electronics to do amazing things. It's an amazing conductor of electricity, and among other things. That's the major thing that I found about what it could do. And I guess the there's people passing by, distracted me. So I guess the other thing that I found about it that was really important and really cool was that it's used by NASA, and it's used extensively by NASA with the space program. They use it for a whole lot of different purposes. And I always found that when NASA does something, you kind of want to keep an eye on that. They kind of have their cutting edge on everything. A lot of what they do like even like, you know, cell phones, they had this technology back in like the 50s. So, you know, keep an eye on NASA, you know, and you know, understand that they're way ahead, and they're like keeping a lot of stuff, you know, from us. So, you know, I found that, you know, pretty interesting. And then like 15, 20 years ago, back when the internet just really jumped off, I was exposed to, you know, so much information about everything. And one thing that I found was about monatomic gold, and, you know, what it could do. And, you know, at this point, I'm realizing, okay, you actually can eat this stuff. You actually can, you know, it can be used as a food. You know, I was thinking, but how? And you know, a lot of the information that I found about it, you know, on the internet, you know, when people make videos or, you know, talk about it and make articles about it, they tend to lump it in, you know, talk about, you know, spiritual things and put it in a spiritual context. And a lot of times when people put things into a spiritual context, it becomes cloudy and you know, hard to understand, and kind of loses credibility, not because, you know, spirituality is not credible, but because it doesn't have a trail of information. And, you know, the mind needs a trail of information to really follow something and really take it in, you know, most effectively. So I kind of just looked over it and just kind of let it go until like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, it became, you know, popular again. Well, I was seeing it very often again. I was seeing a lot of people interested in it, seeing that what it could do, and I started looking into it more deeply. And it took me a long time to get on the boat, but this year is when I first time I tried it for myself, actually about 4 or 5 months ago, to start the year. And then, you know, I'm kind of seeing, you know, what it's all about. And I don't have to just listen to what people say about it. I actually have the experience with it, and I kind of see what you're talking about. And I do see what they mean by the spiritual experiences, and, you know, why they take it into the, into a spiritual context. You know, the main three reasons that I've seen that people are interested in colloidal gold or monatomic gold or ingesting gold. The main three reasons I've seen, they may not be the top three reasons, but one is DNA repair. I don't know about that one, but that's one that I see very often. Another is the effects on your mind, your brain, your mentality, and your mental health. And I have seen effects in that. And the effects in that are pretty astounding. And the other effect or benefit that I've seen pretty often is skin health and skin care. And I'll go more in depth at the end of the video when I talk more about these types of things. But when I took the colloidal gold commercially, I didn't really see much effects in my skin. I didn't see many changes in my skin. But once I started making it myself, I guess because I was able to up the dose, I immediately saw changes in my skin. So I guess in regards to what it actually can do, and, you know, the full potential that it can reach, it is yet to be determined. But without more to say, let's get to the video. I'm going to show you how to make colloidal gold at your own home, and you know, by doing so, this will save you a ton of money. It'll give you a ton of freedom in how you want to use it, and it will guarantee you that you are getting exactly what you are expecting to get. Because, you know, when you buy commercially, nothing is really promised, but when you do it yourself, the promises are there, and, you know, it'll be all based on the promises that you make yourself. So here we go, tutorial time.
At the moment, I'm about to make some colloidal gold. I got everything that I need to make it. Got the actual gold, got a gold bar, 10-gram gold bar, and I have a short ounce of copper. I'm using gold to go on one electrode and copper to go on the other electrode, since I don't have 2 bars of gold. The most important thing is to put the gold on the positive electrode, and whatever's on the other electrode doesn't really matter much. But I'm going to put the copper on the other electrode because, you know, I don't want whatever's in the metal electrode to go into my solution, and I don't even know if it works that way, but I'm going to do it anyway. And next I have a power supply. This power supply is going to supply the electricity, the voltage, and the amperage. Then I have purified water, some water with no impurities in it. That's what you need. You don't want to use mineral water or anything like that. You want some purified water, distilled water. Then next I have trisodium citrate, reducing agent, Himalayan pink salt, electrolyte to go in the water, and here corn syrup. I don't know exactly what corn syrup does, but all the tutorials that I've looked at, they say to use corn syrup, and I've used honey before, and maybe I'll show you later how that worked out. But that's everything. Yeah, and here's my container, and I have a small convection oven where I'm going to heat the water while I have the electrodes and gold placed into the water. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mix up my solution. So I'm going to mix the Himalayan pink salt, the sodium citrate, and the corn syrup together in this jar. I'm going to put the top on it. I'm going to shake it up until it's all dissolved, and then I'm going to start the process. So I'm going to take a pinch of Himalayan pink salt, just that amount. Trisodium citrate, same thing, very small amount in there. And then next, my corn syrup. Maybe another drop. All right. And next, I'm gonna add my water. There it is, water added. And now I'm about to shake this jar up. Put the top on it. So I'm going to shake this up for probably a couple of minutes until I think everything's completely dissolved into the water. I'm going to pour the mixed water into the cooking glass container. Alright, so that's filled with water, and water's pretty clear. A little bit more. Alright, and a lot of people use like a laser. They use a red laser, and they shine you can shine a laser through it to know when the particles have dissolved into the water. I don't have a laser, so I can't show you now. You know, you can shine the light through the water beforehand. Yeah, turn the stove on. You can shine the laser through the water beforehand, and you won't see the laser beam through the water. But after gold particles or whatever particles you're dissolving from metal goes into the water, then you can actually see the beam, because the beam reflects off of the particles in the water. So next up, I use this to check the water to see how much is dissolved in the water. Let's see, turn this on. Turn it on. Okay, so see it's 0, and now I'm about to check the water and see how much is dissolved in the water. And it's really important that I know this now, because later I'm going to check it again. Whatever the difference is, that's how many gold particles are dissolved into the water. So I need to know this number first. And according to this, it's 159. So 159 parts per million dissolved into the water now. We'll check back later. Well, okay, 161. We'll just round this up to 170, because it's probably still steady dissolving. I'm about to put the gold and the copper onto the leads. So if you look here on the red side is the anode. Anode is where it's the positive side. So the gold is attached to the red side, and that's what you want to do if you want to put the gold make the colloids or ions, whatever you call it, go into the water from the gold. You put it on the red side, and here on the black side, the negative side, I'm going to put the copper. I got this all set up, and you look, I have the copper on one side, and if you look closely, you can see that the clips aren't touching the water. Only the copper is touching the water. And the same thing with the gold. Got the gold on the other side, and only gold is touching the water. I'll take it below water. You can see everything's all set up and it's ready to go. I'm about to turn the power on in a moment. About to turn the power on, so I'm just going to start my timer so that I know how much time is going by. And then next, turn on my power. So power going, voltage at 31 volts, and the amps, they're climbing. They're at 0.068, but they're slowly climbing. And it kind of modifies itself based on what's going on in here in the water. So at this point, all I do is just kind of sit back and wait. And what I'm looking for is the colors to change. It should go from a pinkish color, the water should go from a pinkish color to a gradually darker and darker color, and it should become like red. And eventually, if I were to, the more ions get kicked out from the gold, it will become purple eventually, or like a black color. So it'll go from light all the way to dark. So that's what I'm waiting on right now. I'll check back in about 10 minutes and give you an update on the progress of this and when it starts to change color. So if you take a look close to that, I don't know if you can see, but on the copper side, it's the majority of the bubbles should be coming off the copper side, not the gold side. If the majority of the bubbles are coming off the gold side, you're doing it wrong. Because you have the gold on the wrong side, you have it on the negative side if the majority of the bubbles are on the gold side. But here, I don't know if you can see, but majority of the bubbles are coming here on the copper side. So if you take a look, the voltage is 31 volts. The amperage is correcting itself as the electrolytes and the particles dissolve themselves into the water, and as more particles come from the gold into the water, this is going to fluctuate from as you can see, 0.394567, and it's fluctuating. So we'll just wait and see what happens. Going to give this about a good 10 minutes, check back, and then the color should have changed by then. It should be a pinkish color. We'll see in a moment. So as you can see, I am 8 minutes in, and let's look at the color. So that's the color, 8 minutes in. It's already like a dark pink color, 8 minutes in. So far so good. All right, we 15 minutes in. Let's check the color now. So that's the color, 15 minutes in. Nice red color, but we're gonna go darker. So I'm at 28 minutes, so I'm about to wrap this up. So let's check and see what color it is now. Now if you look at that, it's very dark now, and yeah, I'm about to shut the whole process down. I'm gonna use my parts per million meter and check how many gold particles were dissolved in here. I think the last time I checked, earlier in the beginning of the process, it was at about 170-ish. So whatever number above 170-ish is how many parts per million of gold is in this solution. And you want to aim for about 20 parts per million, but if there's a lot more, then all you have to do is add water and measure again until you get the right ratio. And once you get it to 20 parts per million, then you could just take a tablespoon, and 1 tablespoon is
like a normal dose for anyone. So it's like 1 to 4 tablespoons for the average dose for everyone. I guess the smallest person 1 and the biggest person 4. So it works something like that. But you know, do your own research on this. Don't just take my word for it.
Okay, parts per million meter. Now I'm about to check and see how much gold particles have been discharged into the solution. So again, a 0, and we're going to check it. It says 320. We'll just say 360. 360. So 360, 170 to 360, 270, 370. So we have about 200 parts per million in this solution. 200 parts per million. So I have a lot here. If I want to get it down to 20 parts per million, I would just add more distilled water and then use this meter again to recheck until I get it down to the desired level of where I want it to be. So again, this is 200 parts per million. This is my second time actually doing this, and the last time it was 200 parts per million also, and the color was similar to this. Last time I used honey, and this time I used corn syrup, like the way that everyone says to do. They say honey is not pure enough. But yeah, that's the whole process. It's all finished. And that's the color. It's a dark purplish color. So now I'm going to transfer my 200 parts per million colloidal gold into a container, and I'm going to use this dropper to suck in and then drain it, suck in, drain it, and I'm going to do this process over and over and over until I fill this up. I would use a funnel, but it could get messy, so I got to do it the hard way. And as for the dosing, one dropper full would be about, let's see, one dose is 20 parts per million. So this is 10 times a regular dose. This what you see now is 10 times a regular dose. So you know, regular dose is 1 tablespoon, so 4 tablespoons. So for like the biggest regular dose, this is about 2 of the biggest regular doses. This what you see right here. This is 2 of the biggest regular doses at 200 parts per million. So what you see in here now, this is about one. This is one regular dose. One regular dose for the biggest person. You know, it's 1 to 4 tablespoons. So this would be, you know, the 4 tablespoons, the biggest dose. As for the copper and the gold, you want to clean these up immediately. So you want to use like a scrub pad. I'll show you like this type of scrub pad, and you want to scrub them real good and get all this cleaned away before it gets. Okay, here's my first 2 batches of colloidal gold. This is the first one that I made, and when I made it, it was cloudy. The color, it was purple, it was reddish, but it was like a cloudy. It was kind of a muddy color. And I made this one with honey instead of corn syrup, as instructed, or as I've seen so many others do it. Here's the one that I've just done, my recent batch, and I did this one with corn syrup, and it was pretty clear, as you saw. I don't know how it looks now. I don't know if it's the lighting or whatever, but this one is very clear. And
I've been taking it for the past few days, and I noticed a pretty distinct difference from this one. This one seems more effective, and I'm having less, I guess, digestive issues. This one's smoother going down, so I could take higher doses, and this is smoother and easier on my stomach. I probably shouldn't be taking that high of doses anyway. You know, this is experimental, so I'm practicing to figure out what's the appropriate or the best dose for me. So I think corn syrup is the best way to go. This one is the one that I did with honey, and the corn syrup seems to work the best based on my experience.
Understand, man,